Well, as you can see, this isn't exactly ideal. Yes, I'm currently away on holiday, and as I said a few videos ago now, I kind of knew this was coming, and I figured some fairly big announcements would be dropping during Anime Expo. So I brought a rudimentary recording setup with me. I haven't used this mic in ages, so I apologise if the audio is dodgy. I apologise for the lack of an interesting background, and I apologise for the wonky lighting too. Sadly, there's just nothing else I can do. This is just how it's got to be. Anyway, the first of what seems to be several announcements has officially arrived. I am aware that we are going to be getting a true final trailer, the likes of which I have been harping on about for weeks now, for the 1000 Year Blood War Arc Core 4, probably in the early hours of the morning here at the time of recording, which is of course very exciting, and I am also aware that the full thing has already leaked. I haven't checked it out yet, as I do want to wait for the official release kind of alongside everyone else, as we normally try to do, so expect a live reaction tomorrow, and then a few days later, once I am finally back home, probably on Wednesday, I'll have a full shot-by-shot breakdown ready for you of that new final trailer for the 1000 Year Blood War Arc Core 4, depending on how crazy the trailer is. But to be completely honest with you, let's put it this way, I'm expecting big things. We've been waiting for this trailer for what feels like a long, long time at this point. I'm kind of expecting them to go pretty big, but we'll have to wait and see. But up first, Bleach Mirror's High. Something else that we've known about for quite some time now, the newest mobile game, and one that Kubo himself is heavily involved in the production of, which is why people are kind of quite excited for this one, has received its first real trailer ahead of what appears to be a closed beta coming soon, so presumably the gameplay is also going to be out there in this trailer as well. Let's take a look and find out. Before we get started, do consider hitting subscribe down below if you enjoyed today's video and want to see more Bleach content every single week. It is greatly appreciated and it does help out the channel enormously, especially on our quest to reach 300,000 subs. I really would appreciate it. So before the trailer begins, I just want to give a little bit of context surrounding what we kind of know about Mirror's High so far, which really is not a lot, but they did release a new piece of key art for the game, which was kind of an evolution of the previous key art that just had Ichigo kind of standing on what looked like a water's surface. Now we have that same art, but the surface of the water has kind of cracked and broken, akin to a mirror, and underneath Ichigo, his reflection has now kind of split in two, which of course has led everyone to think, well, maybe this is going to be a kind of mirror dimension, alternate reality version of Bleach. So let's see if that manifests itself in the trailer. Okay, here we go. Okay, the music's awesome already. I like that. That's pretty cool. Second trailer, even though the first one was very much a conceptual teaser. Okay, so we've got 1000 Year Blood War Arc anime. Oh, Ichigo has the Hogyoku. Oh, okay, new characters as well. Kind of looks like Kazuya and Ichika, my immediate first impression. I'm not sure about this VO. His voice sounds a little bit weird. Okay, gameplay. Kubo art, perhaps. Shirin Migishima. Sanari Shirane. And then Rukia. Okay, cool. We're not getting an awful lot of a good look at the gameplay. Tsugaya, Renji, Byakuya. Okay, so I kind of like that they seem to have post-time skip designs. I mean, it did say after the 1000 Year Blood War Arc, which I'm a big fan of that. Oh, okay, that's the key art. Yeah, these new characters do kind of just immediately remind me of Kazuya and Ichika. I wonder if that's the point. Closed base test coming soon. Okay, pretty cool. Not a big insight into how the game actually plays. Let's just roll through it one more time. Right, here we go. Yeah, so Kubo, again, heavily involved in this game, which is pretty cool. So there's Ichigo. That's new. He's holding the Hogyoku, and the sky is purple in the Soul Society. That's very interesting. It kind of looks like those are the characters who are going to be facing off against an evil Ichigo, maybe? Which is really awesome. Shirin Migishima. And then Sanari Shirane. I don't think those names mean anything, as far as I can recall. And they're going to be, I guess, teaming up with Rukia and Renji. If the villain is an evil Ichigo, an alternate reality evil Ichigo, that's really awesome. So they are wearing they're actually wearing their Lost Agent designs specifically, which obviously then lead into the start of the 1000 Year Blood War Arc. But if this is supposed to be set immediately afterwards, There's Kisuke as well in the artwork. They do seem to be standing on the artwork on some kind of like reflective pool almost. And then there's the Soul Society above. So this is definitely supposed to be a flipped reality where, I mean, maybe after defeating Aizen, Ichigo took the Hogyoku and kind of turned evil. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. This time around, we're just going to have a very brief look to see if we can actually see what the game is. I am going to try and sign up for that closed beta. I might do that right now, in fact. So, I mean, so it's after the 1,000-year Blood War arc. So maybe, and spoilers here for the end of the 1,000-year Blood War arc for stuff that hasn't been animated yet, just so you're aware. What if Aizen is, like, killed somehow? Maybe they're doing a what if Aizen is killed against Yhwach arc, and then Ichigo takes the Hogyoku for himself, defeats Yhwach arc, and turns evil? Anyway, the gameplay. We're really not seeing a lot. The character models are pretty nice. Interestingly, this is more 3D action than I was expecting it to be. Soul Drive, I mean, that keeps flashing up. I assume that's going to be some kind of mechanic in the game. But this is a lot more 3D action oriented than I was expecting, which means it's going more toe-to-toe with Bleach Soul Residents than I expected, which I'm sure they're very happy about, considering that game's not been out that long. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Again, there's not much to go on here. I do like the key art. The key art's pretty nice. Let's just slowly kind of go through the trailer this time and just pick out some interesting bits and bobs. So again, like I said, you can see Ichigo here. You can see Ichigo. This is a new visual of Ichigo while his kind of story through the 1,000-year Blood War arc anime is playing overhead. Presumably, this is Ichigo holding the Hogyoku, but just a close-up of his face. So I wonder if this is meant to be his journey through the 1,000-year Blood War arc has taken him here. So if that is the case, and this is supposed to be like a split, divergent reality, alternate reality, mirror universe, something like that, it kind of feels like if everything we're seeing on top of this Ichigo that took place in the anime, if that's all still legit, the split happened that if Ichigo is evil, which it really looks like he is in that one shot, the split happened very late. Very late indeed. Anyway, yeah, moving on. So you do have Ichigo wielding what appears to be the Hogyoku. The moon obviously behind him. It's not flipped, but I guess it is supposed to represent either the style of moon you see all the time in Waco Mundo, or it's actually more supposed to be, because obviously Ichigo has a lot of different motifs, and there's a number of different imagery that represents him as well. Black moon, black sun. This kind of looks like it's maybe meant to be this idea of like a black moon rising. It's like eclipsing the current moon, maybe. I don't know. That guy could just be rubbish. But the purple glow in the Seirete, that's obviously very ominous. And then he's facing off with these two new protagonist characters. If we take a closer look at them, I guess they don't really look like Kazuya and Ichigo that much, but their hair color obviously is what immediately draws you to it. Interesting. I need to remember their names. Your story as a Soul Reaper begins. So presumably then it's going to be predominantly like a narrative-focused game. So then we've got the red-haired guy. Oh yeah, Shirin Mijishima, that's right. So he's seen using Shakaho here. He's got like a jumper or a sweatshirt or something underneath his Shahakusho, which is pretty cool. And then the other character, who's Sanari Shirane, I mean, almost looks like kind of, I mean, she's got, gloves on. She's got like a fancy ribbon around her neck, maybe some form of nobility, lower nobility, something like that, perhaps. Then you have other familiar faces, Rukia, Renji. There's really not a lot to glean from this, but I'm wondering if it's like a turn-based thing, where you're kind of rooted to the ground, the two characters, because all we can see them fighting here appears to be just kind of regular hollows, I think. But then Ichigo seems to be a playable character. I just... Hold on a second, let's just wind it back a little bit. So maybe a good version of Ichigo is also involved in the story, perhaps? Anyway, so after this, we do kind of see, probably our best look at gameplay yet. Shirin rushes in, then sort of tag teams with Renji, who then also tag teams with Hitsugaya. Maybe that's the Soul Drive mechanic, but they do seem to be fighting that one hollow. So maybe it is a kind of And presumably, since it's a mobile game, because the way the screen is carved like that, maybe that's actually how it's going to look on the screen. I think the visuals are pretty nice. I will say, it's got in the visuals department, it has a lot to live up to with Soul Resonance, because that's like one of the prettiest mobile games I've ever played, and it's surprisingly well optimized as well. If I had to guess, I would say this is probably. So I've been saying my go-to theory for this game for a while now has been it's some kind of digital card game. That appears to not be the case, which is fine. I'm okay with that. However, I'm guessing there is going to be a gacha character collection element to it, and then it's going to be turn-based battles, perhaps. That kind of seems to be the gist of it. That sounds kind of neat to me. Turn-based Bleach is pretty cool, and then you do get the key art, which actually I think is really nice. Ichigo facing away from everyone else, of course, kind of implies that he is the villain in this, which is, if that's true, that's actually really, really cool and really interesting. Awesome seeing Kisuke there. I want to know the kind of gamut of characters. Like, are we just doing Shinigami because this is a more narrative-focused game? Or will they kind of cover the other races as well? What I really like about this is the fact that it's after the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. Actually, for once, gives a game the opportunity to use the entire roster of characters. Obviously, characters like the Stern Ritter, the majority of them are going to be dead, if that's the route they go down, but yeah, that's cool. I actually like that quite a lot. I think that's a really, really unique route to go down, and it's very intriguing. Way more intriguing than like just a bog standard, like Soul Resonance. I actually quite like that game, but another game starting from the Soul Society arc, it's like, again, I've kind of lamented this before on the channel, but we've done that in so many Bleach games at this point. So actually to have this really fresh perspective, that's awesome. As for the new characters, they look okay. Neither of them are really blowing me away. They are unique enough, I suppose. The red-haired guy, what's his name? Shirin, I think. He actually looks quite similar to a character I created quite a long time ago. For a Bleach story I was working on, which is kind of weird. But yeah, they look fine. Neither of them are really blowing me away at the moment, but obviously we've barely seen them. We barely even know them. So the fact that they were, designed, created by Kubo, the fact that he's kind of helped come up with this idea for the story, that's really, really cool. And that makes the game inherently way more interesting to me. Getting this view of the purple drenched Serete with Ichigo standing ominously in the sky, that is awesome. And like that's the hook for this game that's really got me intrigued. That's what I really am looking forward to seeing more of. So while we're here, let's have a very quick look at the Bleach Mirror's High website. There's now, a news page that's been updated. Key visual and second trailer reveal. The key visual, like I said, actually really nice. And I think that rippling water surface look, that's really cool. Really, really cool. I do wonder if the characters shown here have any specific relevance. Obviously, all of them, except for Kisuke, which is interesting, were shown in the trailer. But, I'd be hard-pressed to imagine that characters like Kenpachi, etc. won't be involved in some substantial way. I like the fact that they all have new, unique artwork. That's pretty cool. I do wonder... Now, here's the thing, right? I wonder if this is canon. Or if it is like a fun little side story that Kubo's doing. If it is like a split mirrored world where Ichigo is the main villain, then it's obviously not going to be canon, but that's still pretty cool. Yeah, it's a pretty neat idea. So we actually have... Okay, interesting. There's actually some pages to look at on the website now. So, introduction. And we have the key art for the main characters. They look okay. They're not blowing me away, but they look pretty cool. So, introduction. In the wake of the 1,000-Year Blood War, a lone soul awakens within Karakura Town. This is where your story as a Soul Reaper begins. A lone soul awakens within... I mean, what does that mean? That's not these characters, presumably. So then we actually have a little character page here. Shirin Mijishima, the protagonist. So this red-headed character is the main character? Oh no, you move over to Shirane Sanari and it also said the protagonist as well. I actually quite like her more in this shot where you can see a bit more of her personality coming through. That's pretty cool. Ichigo Kurosaki. Okay, it just says the voice actor. I was kind of hoping it would give me a little insight into what's going on, but then we've got Rukia Kuchiki, Renji Abarai, Kisuke Urahara, Byakuya Kuchiki, and Toshiro Hitsugo, and there's obviously more to come. It's pretty cool that they've got the actual voice actors working on the game as well. So it definitely feels like there is a lot of budget behind this. Presumably there is going to be a lot of story material in here, which is pretty cool as well. If you scroll down, it says the genre is immersive 13 Court Guard Squads action, which sounds pretty cool to me. Price free to download with in-game purchases, classic mobile fare. So we don't know, I don't think yet, if it's got gacha elements or not. And even if it has gacha elements, Soul Resonance I've found to be quite free to play friendly, to be totally honest with you. Like, I don't think I've spent any money on that game, really. Apart from maybe like the Battle Pass or something like that. It's pretty free to play friendly. Like, I never feel like I can't get a character, but that's probably because I tend to not go for more than one each time they come around. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm looking forward to seeing more. I think probably the big reveal here is the reveal of Shidin. And Kubo's done little bits of artwork for them as well. I like that. That's really cool. Obviously, he designed the characters. That's great. Shidin and Shirane. But I'm intrigued to see more. I'm looking forward to seeing and playing more. And speaking of which, I'm just going to try and sign up for this beta right now. So apparently you have until July 12th to submit an application to the beta. Okay, it asks you if you have a membership to Club Outside. And I don't know if that's going to I don't know how much that's going to affect whether or not you can get involved. So they're going to have a maximum of 20,000 beta participants. The platform will be iOS or Android. And the beta period will be July the 22nd to July the 29th. So that's pretty soon. So someone is going to go hands-on with this game pretty soon. In fact, I think the last time I talked about this, friend of the channel, Neonzel, posted over on Resetia that they are going to be showing the game off at a show at some point. I can't remember which one it was, but that means that, yeah, presumably the gameplay is pretty much ready to go, which is quite exciting. And presumably some kind of release is not too far away either. United Kingdom is always nice and easy because it's right at the bottom. There's a section on here that talks about in which ways have you interacted with Bleach content in the past. I'm ticking basically all of them. Later on it says, I watched videos on YouTube about Bleach. I guess you could say that. Wow, they want to know specifically how much of each Bleach story arc you have read. And interestingly, at the very bottom here, it says New Breathes from Hell. Okay, so I've just finished applying for the closed beta. It's quite an extensive little questionnaire they have you run through. I didn't see this image, but a friend of mine has sent me an image associated with the game that shows Mayuri in his chapter 686 design, which is really kind of cool. Like, I mean, first of all, you basically never see this version of Mayuri, so it's really awesome to see him like this. And secondly, again, it just hammers home that, yes, this is going to be taking place immediately after chapter 686, but before the Hell arc. So that's a really fascinating time period to set the story in. And yeah, I'm very excited to learn more. All right, but that's everything, I think, for Bleach Mirror's High currently. I think I covered everything. Obviously, we are kind of winging it a little bit here. It's now gone really dark. There's nothing more I can do about that at the moment. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on Mirror's High down in the comments below. And of course, once as we know is coming, the final trailer for Core 4 arrives, I will do a live reaction to that tomorrow. And then, like I said, once I'm back home and I can work on it properly, I will have a long, in-depth, again, depending on what happens in the trailer, shot-by-shot breakdown of said trailer for you as well. So I hope you look forward to that as well. Alright everyone, once again, thank you so very much for watching. Remember to hit subscribe down below for more videos like this every single week. Not quite like this, but you know what I mean. And check out the Patreon as well, because again, your support over there is making an enormous difference, and I really couldn't do this without you, so thank you all so very much. Alright guys, until next time, I'll catch you later, and I'll see you then.